What does it mean to be a good person? You've probably asked yourself this, maybe after helping a stranger, or feeling guilty for a selfish choice. Society tells us goodness is essential: be kind, be moral, be selfless. But is it? Could you live a meaningful life without chasing that label? The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard wrote, "To be a self, one must first be a good person, or else one is nothing." His words suggest goodness defines our very existence. Yet, philosophy, psychology, and history paint a more complex picture. Some argue goodness is a choice, others a trap. So, is it essential to be a good person? Let's dive into this profound question and uncover truths that might challenge everything you believe about morality and yourself. Let's begin with philosophy. Kierkegaard, a 19th century existentialist, believed goodness is tied to becoming a true self. To him, living authentically means aligning your actions with moral ideals, like honesty or compassion. Imagine someone volunteering at a shelter, not for praise, but because it feels right. Kierkegaard would say they're forging their identity through goodness. But here's the twist: he also warned that ignoring morality leads to despair, a kind of existential nothingness. So, is being good essential to avoid losing yourself, or is it just one path among many? Aristotle, centuries earlier, took a different view. In his Nicomachean Ethics, he argued that being a good person is about living virtuously, practicing courage, justice, and wisdom. To Aristotle, goodness isn't a rulebook but a habit, built through consistent choices. Picture a teacher patiently guiding a struggling student, day after day. That's Aristotle's virtue in action. But he tied goodness to eudaimonia, a flourishing life. So, if you reject goodness, are you doomed to a hollow existence, or can you flourish another way? Now, let's contrast this with Friedrich Nietzsche. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche challenged traditional morality, calling it a herd mentality that stifles individuality. He argued that true greatness comes from creating your own values, not following society's good person script. Imagine an artist who defies norms, creating provocative work that shocks but inspires. Nietzsche might praise their rebellion. But here's a question: if everyone rejects goodness, would society collapse, or would we find new ways to thrive? Let's shift to psychology. Moral identity theory suggests that being a good person is central to how we see ourselves. A 2017 study in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people who prioritize moral traits, like kindness or fairness, in their identity are more likely to act ethically. Think of someone who donates to charity to feel consistent with their self-image. But psychology also reveals a darker side. Moral licensing occurs when people justify bad behavior after doing something good. A 2019 study showed that after volunteering, 30% of participants were more likely to lie or cheat, feeling they'd earned it. So, does chasing goodness make you moral, or does it set a trap for hypocrisy? Social identity theory adds another layer. We often act good to belong to a group, family, community, or culture. A 2021 study found that people conform to their group's moral norms 70% more when social approval is at stake. Picture someone recycling because their neighbors do. Their goodness is social, not personal. But what happens when your group's values clash with your own? Do you stay good to fit in, or risk rejection to be true to yourself? Let's explore cognitive dissonance. When your actions don't match your good person ideal, you feel discomfort. A 2020 study in Journal of Experimental Psychology found that this tension pushes people to align their behavior with their values. Imagine ignoring a beggar and feeling a pang of guilt. That's dissonance at work. But some resolve it by rejecting the good person label altogether. So, is goodness a universal need, or just a burden we can shed? History offers striking cases. Consider Oskar Schindler, the businessman who saved over 1,200 Jews during the Holocaust. His actions, risking his life to protect others, seem like pure goodness. But Schindler was no saint. He was a profiteer and philanderer before his transformation. Does his story prove being good is essential, or that it's a choice anyone can make, even late in life? Now, think of someone like Machiavelli, the 16th century thinker who argued in The Prince that rulers must prioritize power over morality. His pragmatic goodness served the state, not the soul. Was he less human for it, or just honest about human nature? On a darker note, history shows goodness can be a facade. In the 1950s, the McCarthy era saw politicians publicly champion moral causes, like anti-communism, while destroying lives through fearmongering. Their goodness was a tool for power. Today, we see this in virtue signaling. A 2023 study found that 40% of social media posts about charity are motivated by self-promotion, not genuine care. So, is being a good person essential, or just a mask we wear for approval? Let's zoom out to society. Cultural norms shape what good means. In collectivist cultures, like Japan, goodness often means group harmony. Think of someone sacrificing personal goals for family. In individualistic cultures, like the US, it's about personal integrity. A 2022 cross-cultural study found that 80% of Americans prioritize self-defined morality, while 65% of Japanese prioritize social duty. So, is goodness universal, or just a cultural script we're taught to follow? Modern life complicates this. Social media amplifies the pressure to appear good. Viral hashtags like #BeKind rack up millions of posts, but a 2024 study found that 50% of kindness posts are performative, not actionable. Meanwhile, cancel culture punishes those who stray from goodness. A 2023 report showed 60% of young adults fear being canceled for a single misstep. So, are we striving to be good out of principle or fear of judgment? Let's get personal. Have you ever questioned whether you need to be a good person? Maybe you've lied to protect someone's feelings, or stayed silent when you should have spoken up. Psychology's self-determination theory says we act morally to feel autonomous, competent, and connected. A 2019 study found that ethical behavior boosts life satisfaction by 25%. But what if you reject that pressure? Existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre argued that you're free to define yourself, good or not. Every choice shapes who you are. So, what does your struggle with goodness reveal about you? Philosophy pushes us deeper. The Stoics, like Epictetus, believed goodness is about controlling your character, not external outcomes. Helping a stranger, even if it's ignored, builds your virtue. But postmodern thinkers like Michel Foucault saw goodness as a power structure, a way to control behavior. Think of workplace values that demand compliance over authenticity. So, is being good a path to freedom, or a cage we're locked in? Let's pause and reflect. Have you ever felt trapped by the need to be good? Maybe you've sacrificed your desires to please others, or judged yourself harshly for a mistake. Psychology shows that moral perfectionism can lead to anxiety. A 2021 study found that 45% of perfectionists experience burnout from chasing an unattainable ideal. But rejecting goodness entirely can spark nihilism, a belief that nothing matters. A 2020 study linked nihilistic views to lower mental health outcomes. So, how do you balance striving for goodness without losing yourself? Let's tie this to today's world. From corporate woke campaigns to personal apologies, the demand to be a good person is everywhere. But philosophy warns us to question this. Kierkegaard tied goodness to selfhood, but admitted it's a struggle. Nietzsche urged us to break free, but risked chaos. Psychology shows we crave goodness for identity, connection, even survival, but it's messy, flawed, and sometimes fake. The difference isn't in being good, but in why you try. A true self questions, doubts, and grows, whether society calls it good or not. So, is it essential to be a good person? It's not a simple yes or no. Goodness can anchor your identity, give life meaning, and hold society together, but it can also trap you in hypocrisy, fear, or conformity. Kierkegaard saw it as the path to selfhood, Nietzsche as a chain to break, and psychology as a tug-of-war between self and society. The real question isn't must you be good? It's what kind of person are you choosing to be? That choice defines your life. If you're watching this, you're someone who wrestles with life's big questions. That's rare. Don't let society's rules, or your own doubts, dim your search for truth. Philosophy and psychology show us goodness is complex, but it's also what makes us human. Share your thoughts. Do you think being good is essential? Drop a comment and let's dive deeper. Like if this sparked something, and subscribe to Cognitive Cosmos for weekly journeys into the questions that shape us. Keep questioning, and keep growing.